Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Tony, and you're listening to Comic Conversations, episode 238, where we talk all things comics for the week of April 17th, 2019. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
Hi.
You sound out of it.
I good.
You good?
I good.
You been a good boy?
I been good.
Should I talk to your wife?
She's at work.
Oh, so you're up to no good.
Oh yeah. I got terrible things planned.
You're gonna jump on the beds? I'm trying to think of just the most mundane things you could do to get in trouble. And I'm thinking, what would a child do if a child was left at home by himself? I'm like, the first thing, jump on the bed.
Jack does that shit when I'm home. Fucker. And then the people downstairs, because his bedroom is on top of their bedroom, they'll text Lauren complaining.
This is what happens when you don't spank everybody.
No, 'cause I told you we tried spanking briefly and it didn't work.
Well, did you try? Okay, when that happens, you spank harder.
No, that is child abuse.
Oh. I guess you say so. All right, I feel like we stalled enough. Let's go into this first segment this week. News.
This is a mission, not a small time thing. Got me on the case like I'm Sherlock Holmes. My dome kinda messed up from what I've been saying and what I've been hearing. Got me not knowing what to believe in. I was breezing, battling bosses. The record is flawless. 0 losses till I came across this stunning young piece who resided at the bottom of the sea. And she told me her name was Flash Woman. Beautiful but deadly, she was mad cunning. Had a voice that could soothe the savage. Beast of physique was way above average. Magic, the way she got me in a spell. Got me on lockdown.
Alex,
Sort of like a cell.
your favorite guess who that is?
I don't know.
I picked it out of rage, out of vengeance, because at the New Japan Ring of Honor show, they had Mega Ran.
Oh, and everybody booed the shit out of him.
And I was watching the show live with Dave, who was there, and I immediately turned off when they turned on him. I was like, okay, I don't need to watch this anymore. Bunch of freaking wrestling goofs booing.
I just thought if they would have got someone who was famous, maybe they would have popped.
Well, I think it was more so he was, and now that time has sort of put everything in perspective, he was sort of put out there to die. Like, there was a storyline, Bully Ray did hit the ring and then threatened to powerbomb.
From what I heard, the problem with the storyline was the crowd is booing him, so it was supposed to be a heel move, but they cheered Bully Ray for threatening him. And, which, I remember they did that, they had that white rapper, in WWE, and they had Kevin Owens powerbomb him, and he fucking no-sold it like a fucking idiot. And
I remember I was watching, I don't know, don't ask me why, I'll watch YouTube and I'll watch random videos, and one of them was Steve-O, and he was no-selling Umaga, so Umaga got so mad he started laying into him for real.
He legit hit him
and then knocked him out.
Oh, I remember now, it was Machine Gun Kelly, and the only reason I know that is because he's the guy who Eminem did the diss track.
The beef?
And completely fucking owned him.
Well, it's not that hard to do.
It was embarrassing.
Here's my thing. They brought in Machine Gun Kelly. What was Kid Rock too busy? There's not there's not a lot of musical acts that WWE books. And Kid Rock and I think seems to be the main one they usually get.
Why haven't they booked Nickelback? They're not doing anything.
Because it hasn't been long enough for Vince to have heard the music yet. He's always 20 years behind, and I think Nickelback was 10 years ago?
How did he never book AC/DC? Isn't that his favorite?
They would want money.
Oh.
That's the problem.
Damn.
Well,
Well, they get bands. They got fucking Living Colour out of wherever the fuck they were.
Well, that was for Punk though.
Oh, and they got Joan Jett for Mania.
Did they? I didn't even watch Mania.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I heard Joan Jett played Rousey out to the ring.
I'm sure that was a lot of people's first. That was news to people that she was still alive.
Yeah, I saw a picture. She looked
Has
fine.
the road owned her?
Huh?
Has the road owned her?
I mean, she didn't look particularly bad. She's an older lady now, but
okay.
she could still I don't know. Well, I didn't hear it, but I imagine she can still sing the song. No one buried it.
That's good. All right, let's go into our first and only news story. Doomsday Clock has now been pushed back in total 2 months.
Yeah, so he asked me, because every week the joke is, we got to do a news story, Doomsday Clock was delayed. And I told him this time, I'm like, oh, Doomsday Clock delayed 2 months. And he's like, 2 more months?
In addition?
And I was like, no. They keep, every time it gets delayed, they add to the total. So it's officially being pushed back 2 months total from whatever the original release was.
Did they even bother giving a reason, or they just said it's been pushed back 2 months? Deal with it.
They never give a reason.
It would make sense if if DC cared about continuity and it had to fit. But I imagine Johns has probably finished the story a while ago. It can only be the artist, but they haven't buried the artist, so.
Yeah, it is weird. Well, I understand. I do. The one thing I appreciate is I mean, the book does look like, it looks like no other book.
It's a good looking book. In fact, I noticed DC as of late has been giving a lot of credit to their artists. So maybe in the delay, they don't want to bury the artist, and they're like, oh, it's being delayed, and we can't say why, because we don't want to put the artist on blast.
Well, I more thought the issue is, it's like, normally it's like, oh, the book's going to be 2 months late, we have to get a fill-in. And I actually appreciate them not giving a fill-in.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion, I don't care. I would rather get a fill-in than consistent art.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm fine with that. And also, I'm not overly invested in the story, so
it's good.
It's okay if they keep pushing it back.
I like it.
Well, like I said, once we realized, Heroes in Crisis is what led to the world, the shit that's going on in Doomsday Clock. So maybe they're waiting for Heroes in Crisis to finish, and someone told me, why did Heroes in Crisis start like 6 months later then? And I'm like, I don't know. Flashpoint.
Yeah, well, DC's been fast and loose with the continuity, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. That was the only thing approaching news.
Exactly.
So.
All right, that's going to do it for the news portion of the show. Let's move on to our next segment, This Week's Books. So, keeping the theme of Alex picking PC Engine music and me picking Sega Genesis, I picked Thunder Force 4. Or if you're on the certain side of the pond or Pacific Ocean, Lightning Force.
I thought when you first started playing that, I thought it was the first level of Doom. And then it started doing the Sega Genesis sound.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, that's not Doom. But Doom was on the 32X, worst version.
Yeah, I was listening to a documentary of a history of Sega Genesis, or not Sega Genesis, of just Sega in general. And that's the one thing that was one of the selling points on the 32X was, oh, we got Doom. And then sure enough, it was the least faithful port of the game.
Yeah, it looked like shit, and it was in like a tiny little window. And it played badly, like it was slow. And the funny thing is, at that point, Doom, I think, was like 8 years old. It wasn't like a current game. I remember when it came out, because I remember being a friend's house, dial-up internet, and we waited like 6 hours to download the first chapter of Doom, because it was shareware then. And, it was probably
that's how you know it's dated. Dial up and shareware.
Yeah, shareware. Not Unreal was going to be shareware originally.
No.
Yeah, but by the time it came out, because it took so long to make, shareware was dead. So they should bring that back.
Along with dial-up?
No, don't bring dial-up.
I'm sure there's some portions of the country that's all they can get still. That's why whenever Alex makes his argument about everything going all digital, he's like, you have to forget there's some places in the country that still don't have
I don't care about those people.
Yeah, but these companies that are selling their games, they care about those people. Because those
There's
people
not
have money
enough
too.
of them.
Come again?
There's not enough of them. The vast majority of people live in an area where they can get, internet.
Well, until the day comes where they go all digital, I'm still and also a person that likes physical media. So.
Yeah, I don't care.
The circles I would say go to, but it's really just the videos I watch on the internet. There's always people that, some games I understand if you especially like it, but if it's just some nothing game, it's like, why do you have to own that physically?
Well, I think the biggest argument is like, let's say you bought something on the original Xbox. Well, you can't fucking play the fucker anymore. Or the Wii, I think, unless it's still downloaded on your Wii, you can't access it anymore, which is the downside of digital. However, with PC, I don't have to worry about that. I'll always have it.
Yeah, I remember
Steam is never going to go away.
There's a remake of Afterburner 2 that's on Xbox 360. It's supposed to be really good, but because it was digital only, there's no way to get a hold of the game now.
Yeah, that sucks, but everything's cross-platform now.
What was the name of that one Konami spooky game from Kojima? Was it PE or something like that?
PT.
PT, there we go.
Yeah, they actually, they released it on PC.
The demo?
Yeah,
okay.
You could still play it. But that was neat too. It's just, I don't want to play that again because I remember playing it and I'm like, fucking, I didn't care about Kojima because whatever, but fucking they had Del Toro doing the story and I'm like, oh my god, fucking Del Toro doing Silent Hill. It's going to be so good. And then Kojima got in a fight with Konami, and apparently even though he never had anything to do with that series, they couldn't finish it anymore. Like, we can't make this game.
Well, because they decided to move their business models almost exclusively to pachinkos.
Well, yeah, they do a lot of that. And slot machines.
Oh, that's the thing they do as well?
Yeah. If you go into a casino, chances are you might see a slot machine made by Konami.
Cool. Maybe I should go to a casino sometime.
Sometimes they're video game themed. There was, I played a Castlevania slot machine.
Nice.
Did not win. So, fuck Konami.
I'm sure that's not the first time you've said that.
I haven't been to a casino in years, actually, and I work right by one, and some people, like, fucking, they'll go there on lunch.
Nice.
But I'm scared to spend money.
You should, because you might lose. Or worse yet, you might start to win.
I'm actually really good at gambling because I will go in with X amount of money, and I will not spend more than that. Like, that is my max. And if I win anything above $50, I leave.
That happened to me once. I made some money, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I've doubled my money. I'm done.
I went into a casino once, and I had like $100. I worked, and this is when I was bartending, and I'd made a lot of money. And this was like in an afternoon shift, so it was unusual. And I'm like, I'll go to the casino with people. And I went, and I'm walking around, and, I'm doing like fucking dollar bets on blackjack or whatever just to have fun. And then I sit down in a slot machine because it's got lots of flashing colors and stuff. And I wasn't winning, and I went upstairs, and they had the nickel slots, and I'm like, I'll try this. And, the way the slot machines work out, if you hit max bet, even though it's a penny or a nickel, you're spending like $10 per spin. So I hit it, and I almost get ready to walk away, and I fucking got the jackpot. But I didn't hit the big max. I hit the smaller max, so I won $500. But I could have won $3,000. And I think the way the machines are set up, had I hit the max bet, it would have changed something in the system so that I wouldn't have gotten the jackpot.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still pretty cool that I got it. I can now say I won a jackpot.
Nice. Well, it wouldn't be an episode of Comic Conversation unless we had a tangent that went on for like 5 or 10 minutes.
We didn't have a lot of news, so.
That's true. All right, let's go into this week's books, which include War of the Realms Punisher #1, War of the Realms 2, Uncanny X-Men, I don't have a number right now, Thor 12, Marvelous Miss Marvel #2, Daredevil 4, Avengers No Road Home 10, Oliver #3, Middle West #6, and to open up this week's books from DC Comics, we have Batman 69, writer Tom King, art by Yannick Paquet.
Very good art. So.
Are you gonna get
Batman,
mad that I spoiled parts of it over Skype the other day?
You just said the ending was sad.
No, remember I told you Bane was talking to somebody and you got all in the tizzy.
Oh, that was, he was talking to Thomas Wayne.
I couldn't figure out who that was for the longest time.
Well, he called him Thomas, and
but I
then
wasn't sure
they
if
cut
that
away
was,
to Batman talking about his dad.
I wasn't sure if that was one of the hallucinations or not. When
Well, it was
when Thomas jumped him.
Batman didn't see it. So, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so this just continued the, Batman's having all the nightmares and he's aware of that it's happening now, which is good. He explained,
Oh, and I love the explanation for it. So, like, over the years, he's exposed himself to all the known versions of the Scarecrow toxin. So he knows if he's ever exposed to it, how to ride out or what to expect with the visions. So he notices that all the times he's injected himself with it or subject himself to it, he knows it's never been this bad, so it must be something new.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's like, I've learned in part, one of the ways to counteract it is I have to find something to be afraid of. And that'll sort of force my system to start fighting it. And I guess more than anything else, Batman was still, afraid to ask certain questions about why Selena didn't want to marry him. And that's
and it was all, and we got the reveal. It was all his fault. He didn't really love her. Cause he can't, and I mean, this is the key to this is, it's her character talking, but it's his head. So whatever she says then would be true.
Mm-hmm.
And what she said was, you didn't really love me. You can't love anyone. Because you're too focused on, your endless war on crime. You're not capable of loving another person. And, he kind of argues, but he's arguing with himself, so, what does that mean? So that was kind of a downer. The Bane Thomas Wayne thing is Thomas Wayne does not want Bruce, and this is alternate reality Thomas Wayne, if people aren't clear on that.
He hasn't come back to life.
No. He does not want Bruce to be Batman. And Bane does not want Batman to exist. So they kind of teamed up, but in the end, Bane beat the piss out of him and damn near killed him. So we are in fact building to Bane. So Bane must have forced Scarecrow to put the stuff in. It was a good issue. It was sad. The art was very good. Due to the fact he's still in kind of the dream world, he gotta have some fun with drawing different costumes.
Oh, that was great, because obviously Batman, his costume is for the most part stayed the same, but the Catwoman costume over the years has, drastically changed. So while he's dancing with Catwoman, he's having this dialogue with her. They're showing the Catwoman outfits over the decades.
Yeah, which is neat. They didn't point it out or anything. It was just something he did. And I guess, I mean, what I would imagine is the vast majority of the issue is a conversation between two characters, and they had to find a way to make it visually interesting instead of, a Bendis book where it would just be their heads for 20 pages.
I have a morbid curiosity. I kind of want to see that now.
He's fucking written comics like that before. Or just fucking talking heads all over the place. God, even in a book I like by Tom King, I talk about how bad Bendis is. Fucking prick.
Well, the thing is, he's writing for DC, so you have to imagine somewhere down the road he's going to write a Batman story.
Oh, God.
I mean, he sort of has with the Detective Comics, but...
He did, his Daredevil wasn't terrible. So
he keeps talking about how he's like, oh, now that I work for DC, I'm going to find a way to finish that Daredevil Batman story I always wanted to write. It's like, okay. I don't know how you're going
All
to
right.
do that, considering you work for the other company now, but I like to see you try.
Whatever, bud.
All right, that was our only DC book this week. Let's move on to Image with Middle West number 6, writer Scotty Young, art by George Corona.
The kid turned into the giant storm monster.
Yeah, because he started talking to the magical gypsy lady, and
Yeah.
she was showing him his old memories growing up when his dad was happy. And at first he was sort of in denial. He was like, "No, that can't be my dad. I'm not like that." He's like, "I'm not making you see anything. These are just your memories."
And the issue with his dad seems to be his dad was always kind of a dick, but the mom would like keep him from being. She would like calm him down
Mm-hmm.
and keep him from being an outright, giant asshole. So when the mom left, all the dad had left was being a prick. So that's where I mean, it didn't explain why he could turn into a storm monster. Or,
Well, because in this
What's
issue,
going on with
you
the
had
kid?
Abel. He was flipping out because he was worried about his dad looking for him, and he didn't want to go back with his dad. So obviously, he started to get upset, started to get afraid, and then naturally, he turns into the giant tornado again. And unlike last time, the lady isn't able to calm him down. So,
well, she caused it.
well, the thing
'Cause
is,
she did the weird mind thing, and then he starts freaking out, and the fox runs in, and it's like, well, what? She's like, how long was I in his mind for? And he's like, 12 hours. And she's like, oh shit. So, yeah, no, it was good. The story's progressing.
yeah, this is
he's-
one of those books I would never read if we weren't doing the show. And sometimes I question, I'm like, why are we reading this? And then I finish reading it, and it's like, oh, that's right, because it's really good.
Well, I suppose that's all that really matters for reading a book.
Yeah. All right, our second and final Image book, Oliver number 3, writer Gary Whitta, art by Derek Robertson.
Oliver went fucking crazy and started murdering fools in this.
Cool. Well, to be fair, a lot of it was in self-defense. The goofball government started looking for him, and he had sort of had his
The human government.
Yes, not the clones.
Yes. Yeah, so they're, questioning everyone and all that, and he's like, fuck it, they brought, I don't know, like 10 guys, and you can like see, I love Derek Robertson's art. I would not be reading this book without him. You can like see through the window, like a stick is like smacking a guy in the face, and another guy takes the stick through the eye and fucking gets killed.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the art. This is a very action-heavy book, so it really was kind of falling onto the artist to tell most of the story. Because sometimes when I read books, I'm estimating how much time I have before the show starts, and I was getting a little behind, and this one set me right back on time. Because it's a real quick read. There's a bunch of action sequences, him on rooftops being chased. I'm like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, killing fools, and his caretaker there, the guy who raised him, decided to grab their fucking weapons and killed a couple of the guys himself, and then told everybody like, fucking arm yourselves. We got some shit going down. I thought they weren't allowed to kill the humans, like they physically couldn't.
Oh,
I
there was
thought they'd said
like
something
a robot directive. Something would trigger.
because they're not natural, but I guess not, because they fucking killed these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. It was an action-heavy issue, so the next issue is probably going to be a lot of fucking sitting around talking.
That's fine. Sometimes you gotta pace yourself, and doing the all action isn't all the way to go. I remember, what was it, that Black Widow issue by Mark Waid that we dropped?
It was the first issue of the series.
Yeah, where there was like almost no dialogue. It's like, I don't want to read this then if this is all the book's gonna be.
Well, the art in this was better.
Well,
so.
yeah. Although we do like what's his name's art from Daredevil. Who was the artist on that? Sammy.
I don't remember, but he's really good.
Yeah, Samney.
He did a silent issue of that. He's good.
Yes.
I don't know, Derek Robertson, I don't understand why he's never gotten, like he's worked for DC, he's worked for Marvel, but I don't understand why he's never gotten, like, a bigger, like a, let's let this guy fucking draw a crossover or something, because he's very good.
Well, to be fair, there's only so many crossovers, and there's a lot of really good artists, so You know, sometimes there are these artists that fall in the cracks.
Hey, you remember when we like read Original Sin and the art was kind of,
What are you talking about? That was the best part of Original Sin.
I thought the art was bad.
No. The story was bad, but the art was great.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he could have helped with some series that had bad art.
Like Secret
Or just
Wars.
let him draw a fucking normal comic. And so, well, then again, I guess he probably owns part of this. So
That's how Image works.
that could be why.
Yeah, probably make a lot more money that way too.
Yeah, good issue though. Breezy read.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for the Image portion of the show. Let's move on to Marvel with Avengers No Road Home, 10 of 10, run by Al Ewing, art by Sean Izeki.
I told you I like this, but it was like the fucking cheesiest comic I've ever read in my entire life.
This read like I had a lot more story to tell, but I had to wrap things up and do it in 10 issues.
It was very, we have to wrap this story up. And it was also, hey, guy doing the art, you get to draw fucking every superhero ever.
That must have been fun, because not only was it
Yeah.
every single superhero, it was every single superhero, like, in various ages. Like, mainly, you know, the costume that they're most famous for, or the era that they're most famous for. So that was really fun.
The gimmick of the book was Nyx went into that house that had the light, and apparently that was the light of creation.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the enemy of darkness. So Vision said, I got files on every Avenger thing ever, and I'm in the House of Ideas.
Boo!
So he gave basically a monologue and summoned every fucking superhero in Marvel history.
The problem with that is they showed all these cool superheroes in their classic costumes, and then they just episodes they cut to immediately superheroes modern day, and it's like, oh yeah, their costumes are not that great.
Well, it was basically like a superhero should be positive and give people hope was the story, and we need to get back to that. And fighting the overwhelming odds, and it's very nice. And Vision walks out, and then we had first of all, they teased Rocket Raccoon dying. Rocket Raccoon is going to die. I remember reading that in a solicitation. They teased it here because he said, he was sitting in a space bar drinking, and he's like, I was an Avenger. He's like, so I crossed that off the bucket list before and then he kind of trails off, but he's gonna die eventually. Hercules is now wearing a fucking horrible costume.
Is he supposed to be a Nova now? That's what my impression was by looking at him in that costume.
He wasn't wearing a Nova costume. He was hanging out in space with a Nova.
But his he had a new costume, and
that was so bad.
The blue and gold or yellow, it seemed to be reminiscent of a Nova costume.
But it had an H, like Hercules.
Well,
it was so dumb. It was the worst costume ever. He looked like a pro wrestler, and he's just wearing tights.
That should be his new gimmick.
And he's a pro wrestler.
A pro wrestler. And he can fight Spider-Man.
Wrestling doesn't get over.
He can fight Spider-Man.
So, no, it was a good conclusion, but yeah, it was basically just a showcase for the artist. That's the only reason it existed.
But like I said earlier, this felt like a rush job, and I'm just like, I felt like if you had maybe an issue 2 or more to go, this would have been a better story. Also, this also felt like Lord of the Rings with like a million endings.
It did do ending. That is true.
Some of it you needed because you wanted to show where all the characters were going after this.
Yeah, which was good. I didn't have and Spectrum is a human again.
I wasn't aware that she wasn't. They made it up like a big deal. I was like, I wasn't aware that she wasn't. So,
well, the whole issue they kept talking
deal,
about how she's been pure energy and, all that, and she was all worried about like, well, if I'm pure energy, I'll never die, and everyone else will die, and I'll just be sticking around. And if I keep going this way, is it eventually going to be I can't even talk to people? And she was worried about it, but she became human again. So
and then Blue Marvel there is just chilling out. It's like they probably could have used his help in that fight.
They're dating. Well, he was fucking around with his own stuff.
I know, but I just when we come to other books, I'm like, where are all these super strong superheroes? They really could use their help.
Well, Vision was the only one who went into the thing, so there was really nothing to do at that point.
Yeah, but we've had 9 issues up until now where
They didn't have time to tell everyone.
All right, so that was no Road Home. A lot better than what was the other one? No Surrender.
The original 10-issue
No
one
Surrender,
was
yeah.
no good. This one is better. Oh, and Challenger broke out.
Mhm.
Which he's not over with anyone, so I don't really see why that's a big deal.
No, well, because they had.
But I did like Voyager, like, going back, and she's like a little girl, like, telling her dad, like, oh my god, I had so much fun with the Avengers, and hey, where are you? And it's like, that's not your fucking dad, that's your prisoner.
Well, for
like,
her, that's what she, that's, might as well be her dad, though.
Yeah, her dad's a dick.
Also, my favorite ending was the Conan ending, where they showed them in the Savage Land, killing dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah, Conan ended up in the Savage Land, and his monologue was like, he's fucking sick of this people in capes and witches and night goddesses, and I need to just get back to fucking killing shit and eating it.
And then a T-Rex comes in, and he's like, that'll do.
Yeah, and he smiled because he's happy, and now we won't see Conan again until Savage Avengers.
I'm scared that this may interfere with the current Conan book now.
No, it won't. They'll never reference it.
Okay, good.
It's two completely different things.
I hope that's the way it stays. But
Conan, the Conan book is Conan in Hibernia.
Yeah, but the problem is that storyline with the Blood God isn't going to last forever. And I'm curious to see eventually if they're going to try to bring Conan 616.
No, not permanently. The Conan book is selling, but it's selling because it's Conan. Like, I'm sure another book the other book is selling, but it also takes place in that world. Him in the 616 has a shelf life.
Very much so. All right, let's move on to our next book, Daredevil number 4, where Chip Zdarsky, art by Marco Caccetto.
So,
Punisher
you want to know my problem with this book?
There's not a lot of problems because I liked it.
This was not the best Punisher book this week.
I'm saying
I'll say that.
This is a Punisher heavy week this week.
Yeah, so the Punisher and Daredevil dynamic has always been there, and Punisher basically saved Daredevil in the last issue because, hey, you finally killed a guy. You're finally not being a bitch.
Yeah, so I knew
with this.
He didn't say it, but the point he was trying to make is like, oh, I knew you had it in you.
Well, so Daredevil got beat up by normal thugs, and then he got beat up by a normal cop. But after having his ass kicked by a cop, he's then able to beat the shit out of the Punisher? Well, that made no fucking sense.
Well, to be fair,
whatsoever.
I got the impression that he'd been in that medical bed for a while.
Oh, so Punisher fixed him all up.
And part of the reason why he got slapped around so much is because he got shot in the arm.
Well, yeah, but when in that one issue where he was fighting the criminals, he got the shit kicked out of him and he had to run away. Like, Punisher's better than them. I just didn't think it was. It's okay though, because Punisher had a book where he had a very good showing.
Well, also Punisher was also in a situation where he didn't really want to fight Daredevil.
Well, he never does. In fact, the other thing I liked least is they had a scene where Punisher was pointing a gun at him, and they were almost giving the indication that he was going to shoot him. And Punisher would never shoot a superhero, so that was kind of.
Still, for the most part, this book, I like the rest of this book. In this issue, also, Daredevil finally came to terms with him killing that one guy.
Yeah, he finally admitted he did in fact kill him.
He saw, my favorite was like, it wasn't an evil twin. It's like, really? You were thinking that was the gimmick? That
Except
it wasn't?
I don't think he actually killed him. So.
Yeah, I think he did.
It doesn't matter. But no, it was a strong issue. It's always this way, like Daredevil when he's in Punisher is presented a certain way, and then Punisher when he's in Daredevil is presented in a certain way. And the only time it bothered me was in the Daredevil TV show when they did the Garth Ennis Punisher Daredevil story, but it was from Daredevil's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So they completely flopped what was going on, and that annoyed me so much because it was such a good comic. And, God, I was so angry about that. Like, I'm fucking shut this show off, never watch it again. Okay. It was my booing mega rant.
It was
but I
your
eventually-
booing Megaran.
I eventually did finish it, so it was okay. But no, this is good. He's got a good handle.
Well, to
on
be
the
fair,
character.
that's me when I watch most stuff comic book, and I'm like, they're not doing the storyline I like. I'm not going to watch this anymore. Meh.
Well, when you change, I'm fine with, like I always said, I don't mind when you adapt a story, but when it's a story I really like with a character I really like, and you change the character to fit your story, that's what I don't like. Like, as long as you're true to the core of the theme of the story, it's okay, but they completely changed it in that episode of the show, which bothered me.
I'm more so of, if it's a story that works, even if you have to change some things around to fit in their continuity, like at least keep the theme or the ideas of what made the story work so much. And more often than not, they're like, no, we have an original new idea. And it's like, okay, you got a 50-50 chance of that working. Or you could go with the surefire thing. But nobody listens to me.
Well, yeah, I very much doubt they're listening to you.
No. They should, though.
Yeah.
Magnificent Miss Marvel, number 2, writer Saladin Ahmed, art by Miyuki Jung.
Good art, good story. The key to this book is we gotta do the Bruno Kamala relationship, because they're older now, and those two are fun together.
Yeah, and you could tell that there's something more bubbling than what's on the surface.
I'm
But-
shipping them, Tony.
What's that?
I'm shipping them.
They've
You
been
know.
shipping them since issue 1, dude.
Well, but I am.
You're officially
Fuckers.
doing it now?
I'm officially doing it. I'm gonna write fucking fanfic. Oh, Bruno, I love you. Oh, Kamala, I love you.
But we're
And then
from
she
both,
grows a
but we're from
penis.
different worlds. How could it ever work?
You're a Muslim and a superhero, and I'm white and not a superhero, but I do science stuff, and I love you.
But I don't want to risk our friendship.
Fucking friend zone Bruno so hard. Not in this issue.
But that's
Well, her
that's been
parents,
the whole
her
theme
parents
of their
got turned
relationship.
into slime.
What's that?
Her parents got turned into slime, but it turned out it was all a test from a group of aliens
Yeah, that was
who
not a
had
good
to
idea.
find the chosen one.
I did like in this issue, Kamala got really mad, so her powers changed. In that one panel, she was like really buff and muscular.
Well, because she thought she found the guy who like killed her parents. She thought her parents were dead.
But it's nice to see that there's more in her wheelhouse as far as her powers are concerned.
Well, the whole shape shifting deal. I mean, she can make herself big and she can make herself small and she can make herself stretch. So theoretically, she can make herself more dense.
But to me, it's one of those things to where you see the growth of the character. Like at first, she was
Well, the
just,
character's powers.
But I'm saying as she gets older, she gets more in tune with her powers and she can do cooler, wackier stuff.
As she should. No, but it was good. I'm not sure about sending her to outer space. Hopefully Bruno gets to go.
I just hope there's just a wacky, like 1950s poster for, Outer Space Adventure with Kamala.
Ooh, they should
Where
do
she's just wearing her costume, but she's also wearing the glass bubble. And she's got a ray gun and a jetpack.
that. She doesn't really need it, but yeah,
just-
I guess.
Just for the wackiness of the cover, I hope that's what happens.
That'd be good.
Alright, Thor number 12, writer Jason Aaron, art by Mike Del Mundo. I love Mike Del Mundo. I want him to draw every single book.
We read 3 Thor books. Which one was this?
This was the low-key one.
Oh yeah, this is all about Loki, and Loki was talking to the
Various
past,
Lokis.
present, and future versions of himself, and it was good art. I don't have a lot to say about the issue. Like, it was fine. I kind of think the main Thor book you would think would be used for story progression, and
My problem with this book, I'm sick of introspective Loki. It's been done to death.
well,
Like, he's done bad things, but he's not a bad person. It's like, I've read that story a million times.
and like he's dead, but is he dead?
And they keep teasing doing something with Kid Loki, and I get disappointed every single time.
I don't care about Kid Loki.
I love Kid Loki. They even mentioned that in this issue that everybody in Tumblr wanted to marry him.
Kid Loki came back and kind of shit on him for just coming back and kicking Kid Loki out, but that was fine. No, it was fine. It was my least favorite War of the Realms story we read, though.
The future Loki with the sword and looking like a shadow, that was cool.
Oh, the one who ate Ego, the living planet, and used it to bring himself back to life so he could go kill Thor, one of the last beings in the universe.
It was quite cool.
Yeah, he did not want that to happen.
All right. I liked it, but at the same time, it felt like something I'd seen a million times.
Agreed.
Uncanny X-Men number 16, writer Matthew Rosenberg, art by Salvador Lacaro.
This book is going to be so fucked. Like, everything he's done will come to nothing.
That's the thing.
When
as much as
Hickman
I like that,
does this story.
As much as I like that Hickman's going to be put on this book, I feel like Rosenberg has a lot more story to tell, and I feel like it's going to be wrapped up really quick, and it's really a shame because...
Well, what they were dealing with in this issue was like, Xavier's fucking gone. We all need to accept this. And we need to move forward. Well, Xavier's going to be coming back, so it's like, oh, well, I guess that didn't last long.
No.
Which is sad, but I mean, you know, they got to do what they got to do. They killed Wolfsbane off camera. Apparently killed her because she wanted to quit fighting. Captain America is not overly happy with Cyclops, but is letting him have his way, for now at least. Because he thought they were going to be... They had argument where it's like, well, you know, you have to trust us, Cyclops. And he's like, why do you guys always say that? You just mean we have to trust you and no one ever trusts us.
He's like, why does it feel like it's a one-way street? He's like, last time I trusted you, or, you know, trusting you is pretty much how we got here, so I'm not sure if I'm too keen on trusting you guys again.
And there was dissension in the ranks because Cyclops was explaining, he's like, Havoc asked him, like, why the fuck do you keep asking Wolverine for advice? I'm your fucking brother. And he explains, well, the reason is, he's like, you're my brother, so you're always going to stick by me. He's like, but me and Wolverine, we don't even like each other. So, you know, he'll give me honest feedback. And he's like, well, what happens if he's wrong then? He's like, well, we go with my way then, because I'm the leader. And Havoc goes, well, you're wrong about me always being with you, because my question is, why the fuck are you the leader? Because you're the one who fucked everything up in the first place. And I'm like, ooh, epic burn. Also, totally true.
1,000% true.
You know, when you killed fucking Professor Xavier. But he agrees with him. So they were going to pick a new leader, and I think it was Moonstar maybe, who's like, okay, why do we need a leader? Like, why can't we just, like, have votes on things and just go do them? And they're all like, oh, I've never even considered this thought before. So now they're going to be a more open, welcoming group. And the big conflict in this issue was Magneto shows up with the Brotherhood of Mutants and Juggernaut. And as they're fighting it, they realize it's not Magneto, it's Joseph.
By the way, credits to Rosenberg for doing his research. I knew
who Joseph was.
But the thing is, how long has it been, and now they're using Joseph?
Well, they stopped using him a lot when Magneto came back. Because it's like, why do you need the fucking Magneto clone?
Then just
I
kill
think
him
when
off.
he was introduced as a character, he might have been Magneto at first.
Oh, okay.
He was like a de-aged amnesiac Magneto, and then when somebody came up with an idea of how to bring Magneto back, they're like, oh, we have to explain what this fucking guy is, and then it's just like, okay, he's a clone. Because that's what we do. So Joseph got killed because the woman who Psylocke, the Asian woman that Psylocke inhabited before she got split off and is now herself again, she showed up and cut his fucking head off with her ninja swords. And they're like, oh, this is Betsy. And it's like, no, that's not Betsy. And Wolverine's the only one who could translate because he's the only one who speaks Japanese. So she died. Wolfsbane died. Did somebody else die?
I can't remember. It must have not been that
I think that was it. Joseph and Wolfsbane. So no, and she might not even be dead because they were just like, oh, she's dead, but they didn't show it.
Yeah, you think it was a big deal, even though that's what they ended this issue with. You have to
So the
imagine.
next issue, it's the first panel is like, oh, she's not really dead.
We thought she was dead.
We thought she was for a little bit there, but she's not. It's all good.
I think Rosenberg deserves an Eisner for making Cyclops likable. Because the thing is, how many X-Men runs have we read? And Cyclops is always written.
I thought young Cyclops was okay.
Well, that was the whole gimmick of the book. It was sort of a completely different character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, you have to remember, when leading up to Cyclops' death, he was such a douchebag heel.
My favorite was in Secret Wars when he tried to confront Doom. It's like, yes! Cyclops goes on to this monologue of him being Phoenix and how he's going to take it to Doom, and then Doom just immediately snaps his neck.
Yeah, well, it was, I mean, that was the deal, though. He was so unlikable that doing anything with him would make him more likable. So they've kind of had him humble himself a bit and not act like he's king shit, and then he's more likable.
Yes,
so,
a less self-righteous, more humble Cyclops. That seems to be what makes the character work.
Yeah. Oh, Juggernaut's on the team now. And there was a funny moment where Juggernaut's like, where he's like, well, I want to join the X-Men. I want to be an X-Men again. He's like, you're not even a mutant.
Yeah, he turned, well, because he's always been paired up with the mutants, though, so people just assume.
And then he's like trying to explain, he's like, when they came for my neighbors, he's like, well, I think it's going to be a long time before they come for the guys with the magic crystals. But you want Juggernaut on your team, because he's fucking Juggernaut, bitch.
You beat me to it.
That movie is so bad.
No, but that line, me and my buddies watched that movie twice in the theaters, and the second time was just, we waited for that line, and then we just left.
Wasn't that line included because of the internet?
Yes.
Like, they did that in, what was that, Snakes on a Plane?
Yes.
They included the line in that.
Mm-hmm.
All these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane was not originally in the movie, but when people found out Samuel Jackson was in a movie called Snakes on a Plane. Good shit.
Very much so. War of the Realms, number 2 of 6, writer Jason Aaron, art by Russell Daterman.
This was fun.
My only thing is, this doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of places for them to go, and
they have to win.
Well, but the thing is, it's like, it's 2 of 6, so we're almost halfway there, so there's not a big story to tell.
Well, there's 800 crossover books.
Yeah, but at the same time, the main focal story is very short.
Well, it's a war. I mean, they have to defeat all of Malekith's forces, and then they'll win. And
here goes my question. They're dealing with all these forces of Malekith, but meanwhile all the Aviators are nowhere to be seen.
No, they were Captain America was there, and Thor they have to go find, because Thor's in Jotunheim.
Blue Marvel's nowhere to be seen, Hulk's nowhere to be seen, Hyperion.
No, Blue Marvel was in this issue. He was in another part of the world dealing with
Hyperion
things.
is nowhere to be seen.
Hyperion hasn't been around for a long time.
And the thing is, you know, be really good in this scenario now that he's back. Franklin Richards, but we're supposed to pretend like he's not there.
Well, the Fantastic Four weren't in this.
But
so
if all of Malekith's forces are taking over the Earth, and as they put over, they're all over the world, in Australia and other places, in Los Angeles. You mean to tell me Franklin Richards doesn't know about this?
Well, Fantastic Four is in Latveria right now.
That's the problem with these giant crossovers. It's like, well, why is everybody else sort of not dealing with the entire Earth being invaded by elves and trolls?
I think they included. Well, it's mostly just New York right now. They explain that. They went to New York first.
And it's funny they go to New York first, the place that's populated by the most superheroes.
Well, yeah, because you get rid of when your forces are fresh and at their strongest, you go for the biggest threat. So that makes sense. I don't have a problem with that.
But it's like, who's going to fight them off? Just the Avengers. Everybody else is just going to just goof off.
Well, it's not just the Avengers. Spider-Man was there, and I guess Black Panther's an Avenger, but he was there. Doctor Strange, he's not an Avenger. Doctor Strange is pretty clutch in this, and then Odin came back with the Valkyries, and Valkyrie died because Jane Foster is getting her own book where she's Valkyrie.
It was so naked. It's like, why is Valkyrie in this book? She hasn't been in the comics forever. And it's like, because she has to die.
Yeah, they fucking put a spear through her horse, her Pegasus, and...
No. They didn't put a spear through her. They
No, the horse. They showed the horse. It was...
Yeah, but it was from a spire from a building.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but it died, and then she got killed, and it was all on camera. They filmed it. Doctor Strange ended up casting a spell that brought everyone out of New York, but the spell was too powerful and he couldn't control it. So it didn't just bring the innocent humans out, it brought all the heroes too. So they basically abandoned New York to the villains, although all the people were safe. So that was good. And then they decided they have to go get Thor. Because they've got all these fucking people to fight. But Thor by himself is going to turn this shit around.
And they try to explain, they're like, we talked to so-and-so, and Thor is the key to stopping Malekith because of MacGuffin. And like, we have to go save Thor.
Oh, Wolverine's there too.
And everyone keeps asking, he's like, I thought you were dead.
Yeah, he had I put it on Facebook, he had a great exchange with Punisher.
And then it ends, like they're just sort of just, And then Wolverine just caps it off by, it's good to catch up with you, Punisher.
Well, yeah, he's like, Wolverine, I thought you were dead. And he's like, I was just drunk for a long time. How's things with you? He goes, I'm reloaded. And he's like, right, good catching up. And then he walked away. Because Punisher is just fucking murdering elves. Which is what... Let's go to his book, because I fucking loved that.
That ties into our final book this week, War of the Realms, Punisher, number 1 and 3, writer Jerry Duggan, art by McCullough Visario.
So, I forgot something that they brought up in this, and it's actually quite key. The Dark Elves are weak to iron. So Punisher is the most effective person at fighting them. He's just fucking murder. Like, the book opens up and he goes to buy, he goes in and there's like a guy and he's like a piano teacher and he's like, piano teacher. And he's like, oh God, I just have a little bit of weed in my pocket. I went to Colorado and it's legal there. And he's like, I need some piano wire.
Oh, okay, let me get you the piano wire.
Here. Okay, so he ties it across the street because there's an elf, riding a monster of some type coming through, and he ties it across the street so it gets caught in the thing's neck and decapitates it, and then he just starts fucking shooting everything. A frost giant throws a car at him, and he goes to save the people in it, but he notices he doesn't hear any screaming, and he pulls the guy out, and his family's dead. So he's like, yeah, I'm sorry about your family, but your leg's all fucked up. I have to get you to a hospital. Goes to the hospital and tells them, you gotta take care of these people, but you have to leave now. And they're like, we fucking can't. The only way out is through the tunnel to Jersey, and there are fucking monsters everywhere. And Punisher goes and does a few other things, kills some more people, but then he feels bad. So what he does is he hops on a bus of like a criminals, like a police transport bus, like prisoners. And he's like, all right, I need some assholes to help me. You guys are all bad people. So I grab some swords and shit. He's like, arm yourselves, you're coming with me or I'll kill you. And of course there's one fucking criminal who's like, yeah, let's fucking jump him. And
let's rush him. And then he immediately shoots him in the head. He's like,
yeah, he just shoots him right in the head. He's like, all right, anyone else? No. So Punisher goes back to the beleaguered hospital, and him and his gang of criminals are going to lead them through the tunnels to safety. Fucking love this book. Just because Punisher should not fit in this story.
Well, it's happening in New York, and you know in some way, shape, or form he's going to be affected. But you're right. He should not have such a prominent role in such a big story like this.
But they did have the commentary of like, you know, normally I'm just fucking killing criminals. He's like, but these goddamn capes all hanging around, and now we got fucking trolls and elves and shit coming down, frost giants. They're always fucking up the city, because Punisher doesn't love superheroes. So he gotta express his dissatisfaction with them and then deal with their problem the way Punisher does, with guns. But as it turns out, guns are a very effective weapon.
He got lucky the one time.
Well, I mean, they fight with swords and shit. Like, if you can kill something with a sword, you can kill it with a gun.
I know, but it's a nice coincidence that, the evil elves just so happen to be vulnerable to Punisher's weapon of choice.
I think since Aaron used him in the main book, I think he might have mentioned to Marvel, like, you know, the elves are weak to iron. So, and they're like, ooh, we can use Punisher in this. Because Punisher tends to not get involved in the big crossovers, because he doesn't fit.
Well, because when you're dealing with, you know, like the best one, the most comical one was the Infinity one, where a bunch of space aliens are invading Earth, and like, what is Punisher going to do?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, he could shoot him.
Well, yeah, because most things are vulnerable to bullets. As am I.
It's my greatest weakness.
It's my only weakness. All right, that's going to do it for this week's books. Let's move on to our final segment, next week's books. As I wait for this thing to load. There we go. All right, Alex, I hope you have Comic List pulled up.
I do.
All right, let's pull up these books.
Books of Magic, number 7.
Ooh, always a quick but fun read.
Flash 69. 69!
They're not going to incorporate that into the story as we've seen in Batman.
No.
They should, though, but...
Yeah. Heroes in Crisis, number 8. Finishing much quicker than Doomsday Clock.
And I could argue the art in Heroes in Crisis has been better.
It is, but we don't know it's the art, so... Criminal, number 4.
Huzzah! I like that book. Ed Brubaker, I know this is going to be a hot take, but that Brubaker fellow, good writer.
Yes, he is a good writer. Age of X-Men, The Extremists, number 3. There is literally an image of Blob and Psylocke with the sun setting behind them, holding hands in a field.
It's no MODOK and Miss Marvel, but it'll do.
But it might be close.
Speaking of shipping,
Psylocke and Blob, or MODOK and Miss Marvel. Now that she's a big movie star, I don't think they can. I think
he would crush her.
Blob?
Yes.
She could get on top and roll up the fat. I'm not sure how that works.
No, she likes to be on the bottom.
But that is impossible. There are a lot of positions that don't require her to crush her. Fantastic Four, number 9.
This is where I say, it seems like a light week, and then there's going to be like 6 other books.
Sorry, there's not a lot of there's a lot of, we don't have multiple covers, so.
There's Thanos number 1. Let me see who's writing this before I get excited.
I don't know. Let's try it.
Ooh, Tini Howard, I never heard of. I don't
Well,
know.
let's try it then. I like trying people I don't
Okay,
recognize.
then I'm gonna blame you if it's no good.
I didn't write it. I like trying
okay,
to
let
do
me see how
stuff.
many
That's
books.
it.
I'll recommend. Is that it?
Yeah.
Can I recommend we try another book again?
Sure.
It's gonna be a book we read before. I'm hoping it's good because people keep talking about how good it is. Immortal Hulk, number 12.
We already tried that and it was shit.
I want to try it again. Even people that like that book said, "Oh, it wasn't a particularly good issue." Oh wait. Okay, I think you might be off the hook. This may be a reprinting. Yeah, second printing variant. Never mind.
Yay.
But if that book comes out again, I want to try it again because people have been praising that book like there's no tomorrow.
Fine.
One bad issue. Come on.
Yeah, I'll read 2 issues of a bad book.
So that leaves us wow, it's a short week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Cool. A week after it'll probably be super heavy.
Yeah. Well, are there any old comics that you want us to read? Are we gonna read that sappy romance book?
No.
The Marvel one?
Yes. What was it called? Love Romances?
Something like that.
It's a really big file.
You mean to tell me we're not
download
gonna read
that shit,
Punk
though.
Mambo from Valiant Comics?
That you remember when we were reading whatever book and I hated that character?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still hate that character. I don't. I like the Toyo Harada book, and I will continue to read that, but I'm not gonna read fucking Punk Mambo. Also, it's a terrible name. Like I know Mambo's like the voodoo thing, but it's like, come on. Let me see if I can find the name of this.
It's Cullen
This
Bunn.
other book. Oh, the love romances that we could read that. The Marvel one, the new one came out finally. So we could download that since we were originally going to cover it before.
We'll read the first issue of that since we only have 7 books.
There is only 1 issue.
Oh, perfect.
It's not the classic. It's the new one.
Oh.
But they're supposed to be.
Fine, we'll read the new one.
Well, I mean, here. Let me see if I can
I want
find
to
the
read
old
the
one.
classic one.
The new one's probably better.
No, you're right. It's probably written for adults as opposed to the first one was probably written for,
Little girls.
yeah.
There it is. Love Romances, 1949 to 1963.
All right.
Whoa.
All right, it's going to
We'll
do it.
decide which to read.
All right, that's next week's books. That's going to do it for this week's show. All right, so from all of us at halfguarded.com, thanks for checking out this week's show, and as always, check you guys out next week. Adios.